Vincent Van Gogh, a genius ahead of his time. Vincent was born in the home of a Protestant pastor on 30th March 1853 in a village of the south of the Netherlands. His childhood was difficult. Vincent was an unusual child who always seemed to be left out. The boy received his education first in a village school, then in boarding schools. Leaving school, Van Gogh got a job in his uncle's company, which was engaged in the sale of paintings. At first things went well, and he was very even transferred to London, where he had a very good salary, which was enough to visit various art galleries and museums. Van Gogh could have become a successful merchant, but in the way of his career became love. Learning that his beloved is already engaged, very withdrawn in himself, became indifferent to his work, which at that time began to become a burden for him. The artist tried to find his way. He devoted a lot of time to the Bible, and as he was going to become a priest, he did a lot of teaching and preaching and painted at night to earn a living. By the age of 27, Van Gogh realized his calling in life was to become an artist. Although he took drawing lessons, he was self-taught, studying books, self-tutorials, and sketching paintings by famous artists. At first it might have seemed that Van Gogh's life was beginning to get better, but the upheavals came one after another. He was again rejected by his cousin, which caused a quarrel with his father and the family as a whole. He moves to the Gogh, where he meets a woman of easy behavior, whom he was the attention to save. Once again, family intervened. Returning home to his parents, who had been then moved to Nyon, his skills began to improve. He spent 2 years in his homeland. In 1886, at the beginning of March, Van Gogh returned to Paris, where he was waiting for dismissal, and then he stayed to live in the flat of his brother Theo, who always supported him, including financially. There he takes painting lessons from Ferdinand Conon, and he meets such personalities as Pissarro, Gauguin, and many other artists, and quickly gains respect as an artist too. He paints clearly, vividly in the style of Impressionism and Post-Impressionism. France became Van Gogh's second home. He lived there for the rest of his life and never felt like a stranger. Despite his obvious stature, undoubted talent, and clearly recognizable unique style, the public and the critics did not really notice Vincent's work, which was very painful and depressing for him. He moved to the town of Arles, where he intended to create a kind of brotherhood of artists. It was here that the famous incident occurred when Van Gogh cut off his earlobe the night after the quarrel with Paul Gauguin. He was placed in a mental hospital. In just a dozen years, Van Gogh created approximately 860 oil paintings and more than 2,100 works in various genres and techniques, 36 of which were his self-portraits. His efficiency surprised, and his ability to see not the form, but the essence, amazed. This is perhaps one of Vincent Van Gogh's most recognizable paintings. It depicts a view of the pre-dawn sky from his bedroom window in a mental institution. The work painted in just one day, but the author considered it not particularly successful. An important feature of the painting is that the landscape depicted on it is fictional. The artist almost always painted from life, but in the hospital he did not have such an opportunity. So we actually to complain of those sketches which Van Gogh did at different times and in different places. And of course the stars, which amaze, beckon and seem to hypnotize. A special technique using short strokes actually revitalizes the celestial luminaries. If you stare at them for a long time, it begins to seem that they are about to move. After discharge, the artist went to another hospital, where he spent a year constantly drawing. The works of that period finally formed his style and became one of the best of the heritage of Van Gogh. The painting was painted at Arles in the autumn of 1888. Van Gogh painted it at night in the street, believing that if he did it in the studio he could miss important details and shades. In May 1890, he finally left his Elysium for the mentally ill and traveled to Paris to stay with his brother Theo and his wife, who had just given birth to a baby boy. The child was named Vincent in honor of his uncle, who, after receiving the news, did not hesitate to start work on a painting. It was to be a memorable gift for the baby and his parents. The artist wanted the painting to be hung in the couple's bedroom, but it symbolized, according to the artist, the beginning of a new life. It is noteworthy that almond blossom branches is not quite usual for Van Gogh's artist heritage. In it, the viewer sees blossom branches that seem to float against a blue sky. Vincent Van Gogh left when he was only 37 years old, but his paintings are a true example of timeless art. They inspire, fascinate, and surprise even now, having a huge influence on the art of the post-Van Gogh period. This work is rightly called the most dramatic, symbolic, and at the same time tragic of all Van Gogh's paintings. It is believed that this is one of the last paintings of the artist. The painting was completed 19 days before Van Gogh's death, in July 1890. It is characterized by extreme numbness and a premonition of tragedy. Endless fields of wheat, browned by the winds, thunderous dark sky, roads that seems to scatter and lead nowhere, and, of course, black crows. A creator for whom there were no canons and limitations. An artist not understood and not recognized by his contemporaries. A man whose life, full of madness and loneliness, ended tragically. All this is about him. An artist who belonged more to his work than to himself. Vincent Van Gogh.